last week was our 150th episode.
Oh my God.
And I like totally didn't say it.
That's pretty typical of us.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, it just didn't even land.
And that's funny because when I save my notes in places, write
Yeah,
episode 150.
yeah,
And
same.
no, I did
Yep.
not realize. That's exciting.
Nope. Me neither. I literally didn't even notice until I was post producing and I was like, hold on a second. Is that right? Then I was like, oh, okay.
I feel like that
Oops.
says a lot about where we've been recently,
Yeah,
mentally.
honestly. Yeah, that's a very good point.
So,
Okay, well, I'm Olivia,
and I'm Amy, and
and
this
this
is
is Girls
Girls
Gone
Gone Spooky.
Spooky. Let's go.
Yeah.
Episode 151.
Yeah, it's just as good as 150, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's a palindrome.
Oh, yeah.
Does
We
that
love
work for
that.
numbers? I don't know if that works for numbers, but it's fine.
Probably.
You know what? Speaking of numbers,
What?
what I'm about to say is going to be so stupid.
Okay.
I figured out how to do a VLOOKUP in Google Sheets today.
Oh. I don't know
And I
what that is.
okay. So let me tell
VLOOKUP.
you. Okay, so if you have two like tabs, for example, it
Uh-huh.
can be other things, but if you have two tabs in a Google Sheet and you have like a list of data, like a list of like IDs, and then you have a list of other things. And then in another sheet, you have that same list of IDs, and then you have other information. And you need to pull that information to the right IDs in the first one.
Yeah.
You do a VLOOKUP, and you say, okay, look up this number in this range,
Mhm.
in this column, and then put it here.
Wow. That
And I
saves
learned
a
how
lot
to
of
do
time.
it. It saves a lot of time,
That's
especially if
amazing.
it's all scrambled, because
Yeah.
like the numbers weren't in the same order, so I couldn't just like copy paste it. Anyway,
Right.
I have had Noah show me how to do this 10 times. Like, not kidding. 10 times.
Yeah.
And every time I wasn't driving, he was driving.
Yeah.
And so this time I was driving and I
Yeah.
looked it up on YouTube
Yep.
and was like, show me how. And then I did it. And it was in this
That,
like very complicated data feed. And I was like,
wow.
I'm a woman in STEM.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's exciting. And you can add
I'm
that to
basically a
your
scientist.
resume. Expert at Google Sheets.
Right. Because honestly, I'm not an expert at Excel because Excel
Yeah.
doesn't work on a Mac.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, not well, at least.
Yeah.
Google Sheets is way easier.
Right. That's a good point. Wow, congrats. I'm happy for you. Oh,
A fly just flew by.
demon.
I'm
Just
gonna
kidding.
kill it. At some point, you're all gonna hear this, and I'm gonna get that fly. Where did it go, though? That's upsetting to me.
That's always a
It's on me.
concern. Today I was in the shower and
Oh
I
no.
picked up my clothes off the floor and a daddy long legs came out of them. And
No.
he was definitely a daddy. He was really big. It scared me.
He was a zaddy long legs?
Yeah.
Did you
was.
scream? I would have screamed.
No, I just watched him go away. I didn't even get him out. I'm too scared to touch them. But they
Yeah, me
can
too.
just hang out if I just don't bother me. So
Yeah, why are we afraid to touch them? I think I'm
I don't
afraid of
know.
them biting me.
Yeah, right. But
Oh,
especially
they're honestly just touching me at all.
yeah, because then it feels like they're crawling everywhere across your whole body.
Literally, we have had ant issues for the past 2 months, literally since we've lived here. And we have someone coming tomorrow to hopefully at least address the inside of our unit, and then they need to spray the outside. Like, the HOA has to handle that part.
Okay. Wow.
The HOA.
You
That was
love
just
them.
a mean look for the HOA. But there have been so many nights where I've gone to sleep feeling like there are literally ants all over me because I've had to clean up like
Dozens of
thousands.
them. Oh, yeah.
Thousands. Like, I'm not kidding, Amy.
Yikes.
Like, trailing from one room to another, like,
Mm.
in
That's-
droves. It's
Yeah.
disgusting. Disgusting.
Yeah. Unacceptable living conditions.
I came home yesterday from work, and when Binks ate his food that morning, yesterday morning, I guess a tiny little drop fell out of the bowl and I didn't
Oh,
notice it. And
disaster.
they were everywhere, including all up in his like water fountain.
No.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill you guys. So I did.
Yeah.
I killed
Yep,
them. I
good.
killed them all.
Um,
Okay, last thing for me, I
okay.
swear.
Yeah.
I'm reading a really good book that's like very
Okay.
good for spooky season, but also
Okay.
like not like it's paranormal, but it's not like YA or like smutty. It's like a
Yeah.
drama.
Okay.
It is called Old Soul by Susan Barker, and it
Okay.
is so good.
Old soul.
Old Soul. It
Okay.
is so good.
What's a high level overview of that?
So it's following two different tracks. One is this woman who is doing something nefarious, you realize, with this like young woman who she's with, and you're like,
Yeah.
what's happening here? And then it's jumping back and forth between her and present day and this guy, Jake, who's interviewing people like in person all over the world, trying to like get the story of what happened to their loved ones who've died in the same way as his loved one has died. So it's this very mysterious deaths that like
Yeah.
weird things happen before to the person, like they're not themselves, like they almost act possessed.
Whoa.
And it's
creepy.
yeah. And so you're trying to figure out like how is this woman doing this? Why is she doing this? Like is she like cuz you get the sense extremely early on like the first page that she gets something out of them dying.
Mm-hmm.
Like that maybe she's like somehow gotten eternal life from them dying.
Interesting.
And it is so good. I'm like 80%
Okay.
through and I can't wait to finish it.
Ooh, okay. Perfect.
Highly recommend. Great for spooky season.
Love it.
That's
Okay.
it. That's it from me.
Cool. I love it. My mom gave me a book recently that I haven't read yet, but it's about a haunted bookstore. So I'll have to look into what that is and see if it's
Oh my
good.
God. Yes,
Yeah.
text it to me because
Okay,
it sounds
I will.
perfect. Even if it's like Hallmark style, I'm into it.
I think it's more like fiction adult
Okay,
than
okay.
Hallmark type stuff.
Okay.
Not that
Ooh,
Hallmark's
haunted
not adult.
bookstore. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm into it. I
Yeah.
need you to report back to me ASAP.
Okay, I'll let you know.
I need you to circle back on that.
I'll get back to you.
So sorry.
EOD.
EOD. I'll get back to you by COB.
Oh God.
Okay.
Ugh. Anyway.
Would you like to announce our topic, my
Yes.
child?
Our topic is haunted houses
Hell yeah, brother.
in general.
In general.
And I'm realizing I just have one topic. I didn't
That's
look
great.
at the other link that we have in there.
Oh, that's
So
fine.
that's my bad.
I'll go, girl.
Okay. And I go first, I think.
Yes, you do.
So I can just go into it now.
Hell
All right.
yeah.
So my one haunted house of the week is Borley Rectory. So I was surprised that we haven't done this one before because people say this is the most haunted house in England. And I know we've done England and UK like themed episodes, but I didn't remember any of this. So
interesting.
I'm excited. Yeah. So Borley Rectory, it was once located in the small village of Borley in Essex, England, and like I said, referred to as the most haunted house in England. I also did not know what a rector was, so maybe I'm just stupid, but it's a member of the clergy in the Episcopal Church, Episcopalian Church, and the rectory is where they live. So this rectory, it was built in 1862 by Reverend Henry Dawson Ellis Bull, and the house was constructed on the site of a previous rectory that had burned down years earlier. The new house, the haunted one, was built in Gothic style and it was really large because Reverend Bull had a huge family. So they were the first to live in this newly built place, starting in 1862. And it's interesting because it seemed to be haunted right away, even though it was like newly
Oh,
built at this time. But clearly, other
interesting.
things must have been happening on the
Yeah.
land. So, yeah, the Bull family and their staff began reporting strange things. A lot of unexplained footsteps, knocking, which we know is not good, and bells like that connected to the servants'
Oh,
quarters. And
yeah.
they were ringing so often that they disconnected them and they would still ring.
Ew!
So
That's
it's,
horrid.
yeah, that's not allowed to happen.
No.
And, but also from the very beginning, the most persistent story throughout this whole thing is the appearance of a ghostly nun. And she presented
I'm sorry,
herself.
is this The Conjuring? Like, what's happening?
It actually, I have that at the end, but let's just talk about it
Okay.
now
Okay,
because
sorry.
no, it makes sense here too. The nun, she's going to appear throughout this story. And Ed and Lorraine Warren actually did like a visit to the Borley church. So the
Okay.
rectory and the church were like not attached, but on the same property.
Okay.
And Ed and Lorraine went there and they thought that they captured photos of this nun. I looked at them, I couldn't see it. It wasn't
Okay.
very clear to me. Um, but part of that church that they were in has survived since the 12th century. So this
Oh
is
my
like
God.
really old.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did an investigation. When Lorraine walked into the church, she immediately felt the presence of the nun. And they went at nighttime, of course. They didn't turn on any lights so that they could get infrared photos. And yeah, you can look at the photos if you want. But the Conjuring, like, universe, I guess, people
Yeah.
haven't said that this is the basis for the Nun movie, but
It
they're
has to be.
it's a pretty good guess.
'Cause
Yeah.
also the Nun 2, it's like funny that that's what it's called, but the Nun 2 uh it's in like a children's school, but it's that
Mm,
kind of vibe where it's like been around for literally forever.
forever. Yeah.
And there are actual like living nuns who are there and like novitiates and stuff, but like then there's
Yeah.
the nun who's
Yeah.
also there. Ooh.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I had no idea that Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved there, but
Right.
because they did all the other Conjuring stuff too, it makes sense that that would
Yeah,
be the
this would be the
inspiration.
inspo.
Yeah. But
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, and that actually, like the theory came from their son-in-law, whose name is Tony Spera, and he runs all their stuff now that Ed and Lorraine are
Hmm.
both passed away. Um, so yeah, kind of interesting. But
Interesting.
yes, that's you connected it right away. And I had the same thought. I was like, is this part of it's like could this be the movie?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
when
and
I
don't the bells, isn't the bells in the Conjuring house too?
I think it
I
is
know there's that
actually.
like clap game, but
Oh god.
I think there were bells also.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to do
I
the
don't know
sound
why that scared
effect.
me.
Well,
I
you're
was
easily scared,
such a
so
baby.
it's
Yeah.
okay.
I think yes. There's playing weapons and something
Oh,
else
yeah.
at the drive-in theater and I'm kind of like Dave really wants to go. I'm open-ish because I could fall asleep in the back
Amy.
of the car. I would have no
That's like
problem.
the scariest place falling asleep.
No, I love being outside.
Why is it called weapons? I guess that's the part I don't get.
I don't know either. Maybe you
But
have to
maybe
see it to
that's,
know.
yeah. I want to see that and I want to see the new Conjuring. Final Rites or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'd rather see weapons. I would have a hard time. with The
Well, because I
Conjuring.
don't think weapons is like demons.
Yeah,
Like
I
there's
think
something probably paranormal happening, but it's not like
yes.
literal. Like Conjuring is straight up demons, like
Yeah, it's
really
just
evil
scary
spirits.
all the way
Yeah,
through. Yeah,
really scary. Yep.
I think that
God, they're well
Dave's,
done though.
I'm sure, and that's why there are so many of them now,
Mm-hmm.
because
It's
there's
a literal
no
universe. I mean,
shortage.
there are
Right.
so many.
Yeah. Dave's coworker said that weapons had like more social commentary, kind of less
Mm,
just straight horror. It's like
mm,
they're trying to say something. I don't know what, but
yeah.
um,
Someone said that about long legs too, and I was
oh,
like, yeah, I don't know that it's commentary. I think it's like just like creepy as
mm-hmm.
shit. Like it
Yeah,
also isn't like fast-paced horror the whole time. I mean, because like the
yeah,
Conjuring movies are like that. It's
yeah,
like the shit starts and then it's like it's
yeah.
going.
Scary
You don't get
forever.
like relief.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, long legs there's like yeah, I don't know, it's slower paced, I guess.
Yeah, more palatable for a
Yeah.
scaredy cat
I,
such as
I think you would
myself.
hate long legs.
Probably. I think I would
Yeah.
hate all of these, really.
Yeah,
But
it's fair. It's just like which is the least bad for you.
yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
let me know if you go. I'd be very proud.
Okay, I'll let you know. I think it could be fun for Halloween time.
Yeah. Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, back to our story.
Hmm.
We're still on our first family.
Okay.
So, yeah, they see the nun. The first people to see her are actually the daughters. There's four of them. And they report that they see her walking on the path through the gardens. And she looked real enough to them that they actually tried to like engage with her, but
Mm.
she disappeared as they got closer and were like calling out, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Oh,
She
interesting.
disappeared. Um, After this, she continued to appear on the same garden path, so much so that they started referring to it as the Nun's Walk. So they were kind of used to her.
Yeah.
And the hauntings continue. So now in 1892, um, the original Reverend Bull, he passes away. His son takes over as rector. So he grew up in this house and he is still living there. And the reports of paranormal activity continue. The nun obviously is still there, but it seems like she's getting more bold almost because she starts
Mm.
walking past the windows. She's not just
Oh.
in the garden. And windows start shattering spontaneously. The bells continue ringing.
Oh,
Um,
shit.
yeah, things are bad enough that some of the staff are like, "I'm done," and
We're
leave.
out.
Yeah, they don't work there anymore. And word is starting to get out, like outside of just their community. People are starting to hear about this house. And so, um, Harry Bull, who was the son, he was the rector until 1927. After he died, it was difficult to find somebody new who was willing to live there,
Yeah.
understandably, because
Fair
people
enough.
heard about it. So it
Mm.
was vacant for a few months until 1928 when Reverend Guy Eric Smith and his wife moved in. They also had things happen almost immediately. So when they were moving in, Mrs. Smith was cleaning a cupboard and she discovered a skull wrapped in brown paper in the cupboard.
Huh?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And that's all the detail about that. Like, I don't know
Uh,
if they looked into it. Well, they did. They didn't look into the skull specifically, but they started
mm.
wanting somebody to investigate this house.
Yeah.
So the skull, and then they hear the phantom footsteps. Now they're starting to hear whispers as well, and more tapping. So, like, the knocking is still going on. Um,
Ooh, tapping is like kind of worse.
yeah, it feels different somehow. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. Because then you're like, is my faucet dripping? And then you look
Right.
around and nothing's there. That's disturbing.
Ew.
Yeah. So, anyway, Um, they also start seeing orbs and lights and figures going through the house. And of course, they see the nun too. And these events all prompted them to contact Harry Price, who is a well known psychic researcher. He arrived to the house on June 12th, 1929, and new phenomena started happening when he came. So he said that he was getting hit with stones, like something was throwing things at him.
Oh my
Um,
God.
they all saw a vase get thrown and other objects in the house. He also said that spirit messages were tapped out to him, like from a mirror. I don't know exactly what he means by that, but he's doing his research.
Yeah.
But as soon as he left, everything stopped for a while. So then the Smiths were like, was he creating all of this? Is he
Yeah.
falsifying the new stuff that was happening? Like,
Mhm.
obviously they had their own experiences, but he might have made it more sensational
Yeah.
than it actually was. And this Harry Price was the one that coined the house the most haunted house in England. So
Mm.
this was probably good for his business. So he could have exaggerated, but something's going on still.
Yeah.
And the Smiths only lived there for 2 years because they were like, I don't like this. So
Yeah. Fair
um,
enough.
they left in 1929. The house again sat vacant for a few months until 1930, when Reverend Lionel Foister and his wife Marianne and their daughter Adelaide moved into the house. And the Foisters' time in this house was like the most intense paranormal activity of all of it. So Foister, he wrote an account of all the incidents that were happening. In all, it ended up being 2,000 things over their 5-year stay. Um, so let's see, they moved out October 1935. His health was declining. Um, but they also experienced the same bell ringing, the windows shattering. There were objects that were thrown. There was also writing that appeared on the wall. And a few times, Adelaide, the daughter, she got locked into a room that didn't have a lock on it. So, like, they just
What?
couldn't open the door and she was
Oh
stuck
my
inside.
God.
Yeah. And Marianne reported to her husband a whole range of poltergeist phenomena that she said she once got thrown from her bed. On one occasion, Adelaide was also attacked while she was trying to sleep, and she described it as something horrible. Um, and another creepy detail is that the writing that they said was starting to appear on the walls, it gave them the impression that it was impersonating Marianne pleading for help. So it was like,
Oh.
yeah, things that she would have said, or like, help me, signed Marianne kind of thing.
Yeah.
Really
Oh,
weird.
weird.
Yeah.
Manipulative
So
ghost.
I know. So the Reverend Foister, he tried twice to conduct an exorcism, but nothing seemed to help. And in fact, in the middle of the first exorcism, he was hit in the shoulder by a stone the size of his fist. So
Oh my
it
God.
was mad.
Yeah.
um, yep. But he, like I said, was documenting all of these incidents. And so when they left, he actually gave his notes to Harry Price because he knew about his previous involvement with the
Mm.
house. Um, but somehow it got out that Marianne was having an affair through all of this. And
Uh-oh.
she admitted actually to making up some of the things that happened to detract attention from her affair. I don't know exactly how
What
that
an
would have worked.
asshole.
Right. But she's said she wasn't behind everything. Like there was still stuff going on, but she was taking advantage, I guess, to try to hide or like cover her tracks
Yeah.
somehow. So who knows? But then, in 1937, Harry Price, our researcher, he leases the rectory for a full year in order to conduct a more thorough investigation. He had a team of 48 people help him, to take turns observing the house. And over this year, they documented a lot of things, of course. They were seeing the ghostly lights. They saw more phantom figures, including the nun, but also other things, and more weird sounds, including the knocking. And so Price, during this year, had seances. And the spirit that kept coming through to them said that her name was Marie Layer. And she was claiming that she was the nun who lived on the grounds centuries earlier. So they think that they made contact with her.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And
so she actually was like a person, if this is correct, not a demon.
Yes, if he's correct, this is somebody's spirit. Which I guess kind of makes sense because nothing really evil is happening. It's just like scary stuff.
Yeah, activity.
She's just
yeah, it's only scary because it's inexplicable.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So in the most popular version of our nun's story, Marie Layer, she was French, and she fell in love with either a monk who lived on the by the church, or it was just a local man. Either one would have been a no-no for a nun, obviously. Yeah. And she and her lover, whoever he was, attempted to elope, but they were caught. And Marie was allegedly bricked into the wall of the monastery while she was still alive. There is no historical...
dude.
I know, that's awful. I can't imagine. There's no historical evidence that this really happened, but it is kind of interesting because Price later excavated parts of the rectory during this year-long stint there, and he found human bones in the walls.
Oh, shit!
But this nun was supposed to have lived centuries ago, and this rectory was built in 1862. But either way, what were those bones doing there, and what was the skull in the cupboard? Maybe somebody was a serial killer?
That's what I was going to say,
a murder? Yeah.
Maybe they were murder?
It could be.
A serial killer?
I don't know.
With the grimace.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Oh, I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah, but either way, that's really scary.
Either that or an occultist.
Right. True. So something weird is happening, and they take those bones and they give her a Christian burial.
That's nice.
Yeah. In 1939, though, the rectory was badly damaged by a fire, which was caused supposedly by an accidental overturning of an oil lamp by the owner at that time. Some people claimed that when they ran to the rectory to try to put out the fire, whatever, who were just bystanders, they said that they could see figures in the windows while they were watching the fire burning. But who knows? And the building was never repaired.
Spooky.
I know. The building was never repaired after this fire, so they just demolished it in 1944. So it doesn't exist anymore in that state, and it's now private property. It's mostly farmland, and there are remnants of the foundation, but that's about it. And there's no public access to the site. Visitors are discouraged, but sometimes people go because paranormal enthusiasts still think that this land is haunted, which I would buy too.
I mean,
yeah. So, probably the land might be cursed, or at the very least, there's definitely residual energy there from stuff. So, yeah. And then we already talked about the nun potentially being the inspiration for the movie, and I don't know what came of her. Maybe she was one of the figures in the fire, but
yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Or it was her body in the walls, and
somehow, yeah. I know.
I don't know. It makes you wonder, in in movies where someone's like ripping their house apart looking for some missing item, like their keys. And then there's like, they like break the fourth wall for some like dramatic irony and they like show where the keys actually are.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I feel like that sometimes. Well, I feel like that all the time when I'm like looking for something lost. But I feel like that sometimes with mysteries like this too. Like this is insane if this actually happened. But what if the builders found the bones and decided to like put them in the house? You know, like that's unlikely. But you know what I mean? Like, or they. Someone someone crazy came onto the property and put them there while it was in construction. Like, who knows?
Yeah, anything could have happened. And they did say that they built it like near the foundation of the old rectory. So what if they reused some part of the structure or
some
something?
pieces of it? Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. That's a good one, though. And
I know.
The Warren connection was unexpected.
Yes, yeah. I love that haunted house. It has everything we want.
Yeah, literally. They were from the U.S., right? They're not Brits.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, some more scary haunted houses. Okay, I have 3 like little quickies, and then I have my main story.
Perfect.
I can't stop yawning. What's going on? It's warm in here, I think is the problem. Okay.
She's bored.
No, I'm not.
Just kidding.
Okay, Jamalson 54 asked, "Dear police officers of Reddit, have you ever responded to a call for paranormal reasons?" And this is from
I love these.
Yeah, me too. Yoinky 2013.
Amazing.
Yoinky.
Yoinky.
Yoinky. Okay, when I was in high school, they're not a cop, but they called the cops. So when I was in high school, the days before cell phones were common, my friends were to come over to pick me up from my house one night. We had made plans at school for them to pick me up at 7 p.m. And at 6, my parents said I had to come with them to do something, and I totally forgot to call my friends and tell them. So they come to the house at 7 and called the house phone. No one answered. There were 4 of them in the car, and they all told us the exact same story. They said that they were about to pull out of my driveway, but they saw someone peek through the blinds from the bedroom on the top floor on the right side, which was my room. So they assumed that I was just fucking around. 5 more times, they said that someone would peek through the blinds, and a couple of them said they even saw the person's eyes.
Whoa.
So it wasn't just like a figure, it was like a person.
Mm-hmm.
We got home probably 7:10 to 7:15, and they were still in our driveway. One of my friends comes over and says that they thought I was messing with them. And then they asked me, "So who's staying in your room?" And I told them no one. So they asked, "Well, who's home at the house right now?" And again, I told them no one. Their faces were stone cold and told me what they had seen repeatedly over the last 15 minutes. At first, we all thought there was a burglar in the house, so we called the cops. So the cops come over, they inspect the house. There are 0 signs of break-in. Nothing was touched. Nothing was stolen. Our house had an alarm on it, so there was literally no way someone could have come into the house without setting off the alarm. My family, my friends, and the cop all just kind of stood around for a few minutes trying to make sense of the situation. And my friends swore up and down, and still do, that they could not have imagined what they saw. All 4 of them saw the exact same thing, and it wasn't particularly dark at this point in time, so their eyes really wouldn't be playing tricks on them like this. To this day, none of us can make sense of the situation.
Wow. Weird.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Weird. So scary. So then someone replies on the thread and is like, "My husband's aunt had a room like this." Because the OP goes on in other comments and is like, "This isn't the only paranormal thing that happened in my room specifically in this house, but like this was like the big thing that like we still can't like even come up with some explanation." Like there's just like the other paranormal stuff, I think they're like, we just chose to believe like it was a draft or like whatever. Yeah. But this was like, no, we like literally don't know. Yeah, so this is from Greener8234. My husband's aunt had one of those rooms. They had paranormal crap happen for years, and then when they finally decided to move, they discovered an uneven board in the closet and discovered an entire room behind it. It was exactly out of the movies. They found children's things in the room, chains.
Oh my God.
chains, and
No.
even children's drawings directly on the cement walls made by scratching.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
They called the police, but nothing was ever done. It's just scary to think that it was there the whole time and we never knew. That old house was truly haunted. Their dog basically went
yeah.
crazy when they lived there because it couldn't handle it anymore. They always knew the spirit was a kid, though.
Hmm.
Or is
Not
it?
surprised, I guess. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And some of the things that would happen were tiny footprints in freshly vacuumed carpet.
Oh my God. I
One
can just
time,
picture that.
literally, one time at a party, a stray balloon kept moving all around the house.
Mm-mm.
Hearing singing, hearing crying, and the dog truly would sit and bark at the walls for hours. It still gives me chills thinking about it.
Yeah. No. I'll
Beep.
pass on that house.
Yeah. So I wanted to also share one about the Las Vegas 666 house, which I don't think we've covered,
Mm-mm. It doesn't
which is
sound
interesting
familiar.
to me. And it's funny because it's kind of tough to find a lot of information about it. So this is from Kodo Throwaway. And they say this might be a stretch as some people do not remember or even know about its existence, but has anyone here been to the 666 house in Vegas? It was torn down a few years back finally after another fire took place. And then in parentheses, they say a few have happened in its history. And I hear that Zach Bagans, of course, added the
Mm-hmm.
staircase to his museum before that happened, but can't confirm. And then they edit and say the stairs have been confirmed not to be from this house. So Zach Bagans doesn't have the stairs. One thing I always thought was interesting, though, is a lot of people who deny the paranormal still cannot explain some of the experience that they had there. The actual address was 669 or 6690, and the 9 was flipped to read 666. It was a somewhat popular place in Vegas, especially around Halloween, of course, for people to sneak into and do makeshift rituals or play with Ouija boards. No wonder the place is fucking haunted. It
I
probably
know
wasn't
people,
haunted before, and now
right?
it's awful.
They're inviting
Um,
things.
yeah. However, since most people are not that knowledgeable about what they're doing, you would hear a lot of stories about people opening boards and getting spooked and running out without closing them, which of course just added
Mm.
to the madness.
Yeah.
There were also supposed rituals held there. There was blood on the walls and floor, often around different demonic symbols. Like, yikes.
Yeah. Sounds
Um,
bad.
yeah. Growing up, paranormal experiences were commonplace for me, and I did my best to not put myself in situations that could make things worse. So I actively avoided this place and even felt uneasy driving past it as you see it from the main road. But more recently, I've taken an interest in some of the city's more unusual places and would love to hear if anyone has had any experiences there. If so, what was it like? And honestly, like, not a lot of responses, just like, like creepy experiences like that people have had going by it essentially. Um so because it's torn down now, so it's like it doesn't exist anymore, but it's right near to I guess where like Wayne Newton's house was. So I don't know, but people say everybody just says like it's fucking creepy, weird stuff happens there. Like some people talk about having like gone and using Ouija boards and they're like, I swear I closed the session. So people are like so defensive about it.
Mm.
But the one thing I will say from here, and then I'll just do like a quick like overview of other haunting stuff. But Jordan Ferris 010 said that there were times when my girlfriend and I went there and we would go into these trance-like states.
Oh.
And I remember that in a trance, I opened a door that I could see all of these demonic things coming through. And then she dug up a voodoo hex bag in the basement.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Those people are cursed now. Oh my
literally.
God.
So I was like, fucking yikes.
Yeah.
So they were like, the house is definitely haunted, and apparently there was a murder that occurred there like 100 years ago. And it's possible that the house was used as a funeral home at one point in history. So there's just like a lot going on at this place.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, but yeah, so it's 6660 Pecos Road in Las Vegas. Again, it doesn't exist anymore, so you can't like go and look at it.
Yes. Yeah.
but it became known as a haunted location due to a story of a teenage girl being kidnapped, ritually abused, and killed by bikers with satanic markings found in the house in blood. So there is some question about the details of this story. Like, if it happened at all, but also even if it did, like, it's sort of unsubstantiated in some ways. But I think the argument from people who say, like, no, it really did happen is that it's actually like a cold case. So it's like not like the police don't share details about it still. So I don't know. I don't know how much of that is true, but lots of ghost hunters have gone. And like, you know, it's creepy. It's just creepy. But yeah, so there was this like potential gruesome ritualistic murder. It's kind of unverified, but the ghost hunters have found, you know, evidence of the paranormal there. It's also just like creepy regardless of what has happened there because so many people have come in and out doing weird shit. So it's like whether there's paranormal activity due to that either, it's like there's like markings on the wall and graffiti. Like it's just like naturally was kind of an eerie place to be. So that is the 666 house in Vegas.
So scary.
Scary.
Probably good
but it doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, exactly. So on to the main attraction. This is written by Nathan Munn, and it is titled Our Haunted Apartment in Montreal. Okay. This is De La Roche Street in Montreal. So the first time I visited the apartment, I didn't like it. It was the summer of 2003, and my friend Andrew and I were desperate to find a place. I'd seen an ad in a local weekly paper for a 2-bedroom apartment in the hip Plateau Montreal neighborhood of Montreal for only $7.50 a month, and called the number right away to arrange a viewing. Under the bright summer sun, I walked past the laid-back bistros and shops of the bustling Mont-Royal Avenue and turned onto Rue de la Roche, a tree-lined street of 2- and 3-story walk-ups. Counted past the addresses, I realized the apartment would be situated halfway between busy Mont-Royal and at the end of the street, the vast, tranquil Parc La Fontaine. Perfect, I thought, hoping our search for a home was about to end. The apartment had a single window overlooking a sidewalk 1 story below. There was a small living room with scuffed parquet floors and beige walls, connecting to a cramped kitchen with retro wood cabinets and blood-red melamine countertops. The place was vacant and clean, but right away, I sensed bad vibes. I brushed them aside, though, trying to stay positive and give it a chance. The landlady, all business, stood off to one side as I made my way through the rooms. Heavily varnished wood trim gave the place a cottage feel, but walking down the tiny wood-paneled hallway felt claustrophobic, like being in a sauna. The doors to the bathroom and main bedroom had been replaced with sliding mirrors, which made a tight space feel confusing. In the bathroom, I did a double take. Instead of the toilet sink shower setup you usually found in a normal 2-bedroom flat, there was a ridiculously luxurious washroom more suited to a suite at the Trump Taj Mahal. A huge faux marble hot tub dominated the space, and double vanity sinks under gaudy brass lights ran along one wall, creating an atmosphere of stifling warmth. It was the strangest apartment I'd ever seen. I thanked the landlady and walked back to the place Andrew and I were about to leave, a spacious but grungy 2-bedroom on Rue Papineau. I figured I'd take my chances elsewhere. Over the next couple of days, though, my memory of the apartment seemed to shift in my mind. It was weird, but it was also kind of cool. The price was right, so maybe it could work for us after all. Whether out of increasing desperation or something else, we signed a 1-year lease, and the apartment on Rue de la Roche was ours. Or maybe it was the other way around. The day we moved in, Andrew and his girlfriend Anna and I showed up in a moving van and piled our boxes and garbage bags full of stuff on the sidewalk. I hauled the first bag up the stairs, and when I swung the door open, the apartment was just as I remembered it. Except for one thing. A large black feather lay in the middle of the living room floor. 3 of us stared at it for a moment. What the hell? I asked aloud. Andrew came in, gingerly picked the feather up, and stuck it in the soil of one of our big potted plants. It felt kind of ominous, like a sign, but we shrugged it off and set about arranging our new home. That first night, settled into my bed in the main bedroom, I drifted off to a pattern of rain outside, feeling snug in our new place. And then came the nightmare. I dreamed I was in an old house with flowered wallpaper and quaint furniture, standing with a little girl of about 5. She looked up at me sadly, her dark hair in pigtails, and asked if I could stay. I crouched down to her level and gently said that I couldn't, that I had to go. And when I said these words, her gaze fixed on me full of anger. "You'd better bring those people here," she threatened, her voice twisting from that of a small child into something haggard or demonic. Or, and then with her mouth agape, both of her ink-black pupils cracked like egg yolks, black liquid poured from her eyes down her face, the dark oil blood coursing in rivulets around her mouth, paralyzed in a silent scream. Yeah. So scary. I woke up drenched in sweat to find a steady rain pelting the window. I was so disturbed I didn't sleep again that night. And for the next few weeks, I kept the light on and my door open after dark. I was 23 years old. And that was just the beginning. Summer gave way to fall. The trees on our street changed to burning ochre. Is that how you say that word? O-C-H-R-E, ochre?
Yeah, I think so.
Ochre and deep reds. This person's a really good writer. Good job, Nathan. Mm-hmm. Okay, trees on the street changed to burning ochre and deep reds. The park was blanketed in dead leaves, and strange things kept happening at our place. Andrew and I were hanging out one night playing guitar in the living room when our little stereo, a 90s-era CD tape player combo with a screen that showed a cheesy light display when it started up, suddenly switched itself on. From having been completely shut off, the machine came to life. The light show danced, and the 5-disc CD changer rotated noisily. Andrew and I looked at each other, then looked back at the stereo. After a long moment, the machine stopped whirring and clicking, and a song started to play. Ray Charles's smooth voice poured out of the speakers, but not from the beginning of a song. The music had queued up midway through a track, and over a gentle arrangement he sang, "I'll take her back again one more time." Then, just as abruptly as it had started, the music stopped. The dancing lights were still, and it felt like the machine was waiting for us and smiling. And he links to the song. It's called "Here We Go Again" by Ray Charles. "Jesus fucking Christ," Andrew said. Whatever was happening, it wasn't funny. We packed up the guitars and called it a night. A few weeks later, I was walking home at 3 a.m. Hate the timing. Buzzing, but not drunk, as I walked up our quiet street, and I could hear music in the distance. When I reached our place and climbed the stairs, I realized the loud rock and roll was coming from our apartment. What the fuck, I thought. We hadn't planned a party, and the music was cranked up far louder than any of us knew to play at such an hour. At the top of the stairs, I peered in our living room window, and I saw only black inside. The hairs on the back of my neck tingling, I unlocked the door and pushed it open. The room was pitch black, except for the stereo, blasting rock music at full volume, the light show dancing maniacally. My skin crawled as if I were in a nest of writhing snakes. I flicked on the light, and in the kitchen opposite the living room, every single one of the cabinets and drawers was yanked wide open.
Oh, God.
The large pantry, the storage above the stove, the double doors under the sink, the cutlery drawers, everything. Terrified, I moved through the apartment, madly switching off the stereo, slamming cabinets and drawers shut, feeling as if something were laughing at me. As I raced to close everything, I glanced at the door to Andrew's room, directly off the kitchen. It was shut tight. I got a hold of myself and went to bed. The next morning, I was sitting with a cup of tea when Andrew and Anna emerged from their room, blithely smiling and chatting. "Did you hear the music last night?" I demanded. "No, what music?" "You didn't hear it at 3 a.m? They said they hadn't, but how could they have slept through that noise? Whatever the cause, my friends could tell I was deeply disturbed. We sat quietly together, drinking tea, discussing our situation. Back then, in our early 20s, Andrew, Anna, and I were leading wild lifestyles. I was a punk rocker, and they were night owls in the restaurant industry. A big poster of the anarchy symbol on our fridge summed up the general vibe at our place, which was being stoked harder, perhaps, by the chaotic energy of the apartment itself. The strange pimp cottage atmosphere seemed to encourage darkness and debauchery. Not only did the stereo keep turning itself on, the same thing happened on 2 other occasions, each time Ray Charles, each time playing the same line from the same song, all of us continuing to suffer from bad dreams. We began to feel like we were in a vortex of dark energy, just attracting trouble and discord. Unfortunate events unrelated to the haunting seemed to be piling up. I lost my job as a dépanneur, leaving me in dire financial straits, and the girl I'd been seeing broke it off. Home alone one night, I heard thumping from outside. On edge, I quickly stepped to the front door and swung it open. But it was no ghost. It was Andrew, balled up in a dusting of snow at the bottom of the stairs. He'd been mugged on his way home from work. I helped him up the stairs, and when we got inside, I couldn't believe his state. Face covered in blood, his cheeks and jaw swollen. He staggered to the sink and ran cold water over his bruised hands, spitting blood into the swirling stream. At that moment, with winter closing in, everything about our lives seemed to be on a highway to hell. Looking around the apartment with its bloody counters and funhouse mirrors, all I wanted was to get out. After a quick house meeting, we decided to rid ourselves of the apartment as soon as possible, and the fastest way to do that would be to sublet. Selfishly, and out of a sense of desperation, we agreed we wouldn't mention anything about the haunting to prospective renters. On a spring day, a tall, bespectacled guy, gregarious and a bit strange himself, came to see the place. Kurt was in his early 30s and had just moved to Montreal from Washington, D.C. We made small talk as we toured the apartment, him frowning, me silently praying he would take the place. He stood in the living room with his hands on his hips. "It's really small and too expensive for the size," he said, concluding that he'd pass on it. We shook hands and said goodbye. But 2 days later, Kurt called back. "Is the place still available?" he asked, sounding rushed. I said it was, and he said he'd be over straight away. When he arrived, his mind was already made up. "I definitely want it," he said, as we chilled on the couch, me rolling a joint. I was quietly ecstatic as he raved about the place. "It's just so cool, that hot tub, and such a great location." Just as I had, he dismissed the place at first, and slowly we both changed our mind, as if succumbing to some seductive power. I said nothing to discourage his enthusiasm as we got stoned. Kurt and I visited the landlady, a woman whose last name, coincidentally, is the French word for cockroach. Together, we agreed Kurt would sublet the place until the end of our lease, at which point he would become the new leaseholder. In the days that followed, Andrew and I celebrated with beers and started packing our things, thrilled that it was time to get the fuck out of Dodge. But the apartment wasn't quite finished with us yet. I was alone in the apartment on the day before Kurt moved in. Andrew and I had already moved most of our stuff out, leaving just the last few boxes. As I scrubbed the counters and swept the floors in a final cleanup, I called a taxi to come pick me up. As I passed the bathroom, I paused for a second, interrupted by a thought. When would I ever have access to a hot tub again? Probably never, I figured. On a whim, I canceled the taxi and decided to have one last soak before leaving the place forever. I filled the tub with warm water and stripped down. I turned to the control panel on the wall to start the jets of the tub, which we'd used dozens of times during our months there, and switched them on. The motor, like a heart deep in the floor of the bathroom, started rumbling. As I turned around and looked at the water, instead of bubbles rising from the tiny holes inside the tub, black liquid suddenly burst from every one of them. Thick, streaming tendrils as black as the cracked eyes of the girl from my nightmare quickly clouded the water like ink. Shocked, I spun around and shut off the motor, and by the time I looked back at the tub, no more than 2 seconds later, the water had turned to a deep, murky black. This was too much. Swearing in disbelief, I reached into the dark pool and yanked the plug. The black water ran out steadily, leaving a light trail of what appeared to be ash in the bottom of the tub. I touched the black substance, rubbed it between my fingers. It could have been residue from the pipes, and probably was, but why had the tub suddenly expunged the filth in that precise moment? After dozens of times using the tub over the past 8 months, the jets running without a problem every time. Why then? I didn't ponder the question, as I already knew the answer. This was a final fuck you from whatever energy was trapped in that place. Its way of saying, you don't like it here? Good riddance. I hastily got dressed, called the cab company, and stood by the front door, my back to the apartment, anxious to leave the nightmare behind for good. I reached out to Andrew and Anna to hear what they remembered about the apartment as well, because this was written 20 years later. 20 years hadn't dimmed the intensity of our memories at all, though we did remember some things differently. De La Roche, Andrew texted me back after I wrote to him. Fuck. I dreamt about the little girl 3 times, he told me during a phone call. The first time she was standing on a rooftop and her eyes were bleeding, and I don't remember the details of the others. He recalled that a friend of ours had slept on the couch and woke up in tears after dreaming about a little girl too. He remembered the episode with the CD changer and Ray Charles clearly. Andrew also told me things I hadn't known. I almost died there twice, he said, both times from falling asleep with lit cigarettes. He blamed himself, not any unquiet spirit, for waking up to find his pillow on fire, but he told me he had never drifted off while smoking any time before or after our time at De La Roche. Something bad happened in that place, he speculated. That was a long time ago, and I can still see that little girl. That place was so fucking creepy, Anna told me over the phone. My 2 clearest memories are the Ray Charles thing and the kitchen cupboards. In her recollection, she had been home alone napping and woke to find all the cabinets and drawers open as I had. But wait, I stopped her. The way I remember it, I came home late one night to find the stereo blasting with all the lights off, and when I turned the lights on, all the kitchen cabinets were open. I'm sure I was alone, she said. Maybe it happened twice? It's well known that people can create false memories based on suggestions from others. It's possible I heard the story from Anna and my mind combined it with the late night music episode. Or maybe my story told to her and Andrew 20 years ago snuck its way into her memories. Or maybe it did happen twice. Anna agreed that many bad things unrelated to the haunting happened while we were living there. By the time we moved out, she recounted she'd lost both her jobs and she and Andrew had broken up. After Kurt took over the apartment, Andrew and I headed our separate ways. I got a job and moved into a crash pad with a couple of dudes I'd met. The place had broken glass on the floor and puke in the toilet, but it felt like a meditation retreat after the hellish experience of De La Roche. In the months that followed, Kurt would call me up now and then to score weed. I visited the apartment a few times, smoking with Kurt, keeping my eyes on the cabinets. One time, after he'd been there a couple months, as we were passing the joint back and forth, he suddenly asked me, "Has anything weird ever happened to you in this place?" Cautiously, I replied that some odd things may have happened when we were there, without getting specific. I asked him what he had experienced. "It's the weirdest thing," he said. "Last week, the lights started turning themselves on and off. It went on for a while. I listened and nodded, but kept my mouth shut. A few weeks after that, he called and told me the puppy he bought would often sit facing into the living room corner, barking at the ceiling. Kurt also told me his girlfriend, who he said had hated the apartment from the moment he got it, now refused to sleep there. She says she felt someone touch her on her shoulder, he said. I never heard from him again after that. A couple years later, I got a call from Andrew telling me we had been summoned to court. What? What for? The landlady from De La Roche is suing us. It turned out Kurt had pulled a midnight move, illegally abandoning the apartment a couple months before the end of the sublet period. It had taken years for the case to wind its way through the court system, and the day of the hearing, we were found liable for the unpaid rent and had to pay the landlady on the spot, draining our meager accounts. Just like Andrew, Anna, and me, Kurt had evidently decided he'd had enough of the apartment and escaped just months after moving in. Consequences be damned. I was at home recently with my 2 kids at our house in a Montreal suburb. After spending some time writing the story while they watched TV, I called them into the kitchen and we sat down for a snack. Suddenly, we heard a shrill yowl from our normally quiet cat as if he was in pain. The 3 of us raced down to the basement to find our black and white cat staring into a corner, no longer making a sound. "Snowflake?" I asked gently. The cat turned to us, looking spooked. "He's never made a sound like that before," my 7-year-old daughter said. "Maybe he saw a mouse?" I suggested. Slightly uneasy, I told my kids it was time to head back upstairs, when I noticed my 3-year-old son was drawing on a whiteboard. "What are you drawing there, bud?" I asked. "Dis is an apartment," he said, mesmerized by his work as he carefully dragged an orange marker across the board. "And dis is a map to it." I hadn't told him what I'd been writing about. Ugh.
Whoa.
A map to the apartment? A 3-year-old?
Yeah, and the cat. The 2 things that can always sense
kids
something
and
going
pets.
on.
Kids and pets.
Oh, that's a good story. Wow.
Creepy.
Kurt.
So, like, nuns, Kurt's, little 3-year-olds being creepy, little girls being super creepy.
Yeah, with egg yolk eyes that are
Right.
black. Yeah.
Rotten black egg yolk eyes. Ugh. Egg
What a
yolk
good-
eyes is just,
That's a good description, though.
yeah,
Like,
cracked
that
like
really
egg
gives you
yolks.
the picture.
Yeah. Ugh. Gross.
Yikes.
Well, that's it.
Cool.
Well, we're like almost halfway through October. We're not going to rush it. We're not halfway through October yet. It's only
Nope.
the 10th.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's not halfway.
yeah, we have 2 more regular episodes, and then we have our Halloween Scary Stories episode. Ba, ba, ba. And because Halloween falls on a Friday this year, so it's actually on Halloween.
I saw that. I'm going to have to take that day off.
Probably.
Just take PTO on Friday.
Honestly, yeah, actually.
Why not?
I may do that.
Yeah. It's our favorite holiday.
Yeah, it's literally our favorite holiday.
Yeah.
I may be in a boot still, but that's okay.
All the more reason.
All the more reason. I'm recovering and I'm spooky.
Yes.
Well, shit. We love you guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week for a very spooky topic. And until then, stay spooky.
Spooky. Bye.
Bye.